Good morning. I made a change a couple months ago. Not that well, certain things came in perspective a couple months ago. It made me do a re-examination of me. The way I go about things, the way I look at things, the way I allow things to happen to me. I looked at me. I looked at things in the community, how I can be part of a change, and wanting my kids to have a better life, even if it means giving them tough love. Certain things I won't allow my kids to go through that they don't have to, like seeing litter. It's something that I can make sure they don't see by getting on my scooter, grabbing a bag. Initially, I was doing some idiotic ways of going about it because this is COVID, and I was picking up trash with my hands because I was so determined to get rid of this trash until a friend of mine saw me like, nah, you need to put on some gloves, you need to get a picker, and I value that counsel. It was right. You can't fight right, and guess who's going to affect the most? Me, because I'm the only one that's doing that. Of course, I had hand sanitizer and all that stuff, but hey, you don't want to pick up everybody's trash. You don't know what they were doing before they threw that trash on the ground. But all of it was an examination of me and making me better, and in turn, making my family better, my community better. But sometimes things can happen to make you frustrated, where you feel that, why am I doing this? When after you pick up trash and 2 days later somebody throw their household trash, a bag, and not just a wrapper or something from McDonald's or Wendy's or Popeyes. They actually left their house with a bag of trash and threw it on side of the road. Well, I just picked up. My daughter just picked up. My grandson just picked up. Because he was on the route to my daughter's school and I didn't want to see it anymore. It's part of my community and I didn't want to see it anymore. So, I actually enjoy picking up trash because I love the after effects. I like going away to school and, dang, it's clean. Because we have a beautiful community. But the trash is distracting. I didn't want it to be distracting. And I've experienced some rewarding outcomes from picking up trash. It enabled me to have conversations with my community members. And they reach out and they tell me, Eddie, I'm glad what you're doing. Eddie, how can I help? Or some of them don't know my name and I have to introduce myself because they too were tired of it. They too was doing it when I didn't see them doing it. And the knowing that you have other people in the community that care just as much as you makes you keep the fight going, despite having people to throw trash where you just picked up. We all need that encouragement, that reinforcement. I've been listening to Zig Ziglar lately, and and he said some, in which I'm an optimist, not a pessimist. So most of the times I think of the good in people. I reflect back on the changes that I've made, and knowing that I wasn't always perfect, and I'm not perfect to this day. I'm going to make mistakes, just like doing something for a good reason, but using my hands to do it. And I want to teach the ones that maybe just haven't had those lessons to understand why littering is just what you don't do, because you want your community beautiful. Don't tear up something that's in your own community. I never understood, when we get mad as a people and then we protest. I understand the protesting, get it 100%. But then I don't understand how people can come behind them and start burning up buildings and stores and all this stuff that's in their community, because you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because you need those stores, you need all that stuff in your community. Otherwise, it makes it harder for you. Because there's people that don't have cars, and they need stores in the community that all of us need stores in the community that we can get to quickly. I might be missing an onion, and I want to cook dinner. Well, if somebody burned down a Walmart across down the road, then I have to go that much further. It's going to delay me cooking a meal for my family. So I don't understand that. But just because I don't understand it, that don't mean that that just means my experience is a little bit different and I understand it a little bit better. Sometimes when people do that, they don't think about the cause and effect. They don't think about, I burn it down, I loot it or whatever. That store is not gonna be available when I need it. It's our responsibility. If you got gray like me, it's our responsibility to teach the young, hey, this is why you don't do certain things. And if they still don't get it, well, you still have to play your part. Don't let it discourage you. Because if you let it discourage you to the point, I could get to the point where I say, you know what, I ain't picking up that trash. I'm gonna just worry about my house, my neighborhood, my subdivision. But I'm gonna still have to see that trash when I drop off my daughter, when I drop off my son, when I go to the grocery store. No, don't fight the fight. Sometimes you gotta fight the fight in a different way. Sometimes it's enforcement. And I didn't want, that there's a reason that if we speed, we get tickets, because it's about prevention. I remember one time when I was doing something good. My son had asthma. It was on Halloween. He was actually in the hospital Halloween. And when I brought him to the hospital, I didn't know that he was going to stay. So I wasn't prepared. Usually when I know my son was that sick, I would pack him a bag, because we were at the hospital pretty regularly. He was hospitalized pretty regularly until he was at least once or twice a year, until he was like 8 or 9. So I knew what to expect. This time I didn't know he was as sick as he was. It took radiology to show that he had pneumonia. I just thought he was just having an acute asthma attack. So once I knew that he was going to be admitted, it became about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I told the nurse, I said, look, I'm not prepared. I need to run home and get a couple hours of sleep, get him a bag, get me a bag, and I'll be right back. They said, sure. Children's Hospital is great with that. So I left to go home. I was going on 285. You know, that was kind of early on when I came to Atlanta. You know, 75, 85 might have a speed limit, and 285 at the time was 55, and I thought it was 65 miles an hour. So I was speeding. At the time, I had big wheels on my car, so it threw it off the calibration of my speedometer. And so not only was I going above the speed limit, but I realized that the calibration, what I was seeing wasn't what I was. So I got stopped by the police, and the police said they clocked me at 75, 80 miles an hour. And I was like, at first I was like, nah, I didn't know I was going that fast. And I might have unconsciously been speeding. I might have unconsciously been going 80 miles an hour. And he said I was going 80 or whatever, and 75, whatever the number was. It's been years ago, I don't remember. But I was speeding. And he said, when I said, hey, I don't remember, I didn't see it going. He said, I can show you. I said, no. I wasn't trying to be confrontational. I just was telling what I saw and what I thought. And they had my bag. I still had the badge from Children's Hospital on me. And he said, let's restart. He said, how's your night going? And I said, I'm trying to get home. I said, my son has been hospitalized. I must show him the badge or the paperwork or something like that. I said, I'm just trying to get home to get a couple hours of rest so I can be back at the hospital. He said, do you mind if I pray with you? I said, sure. He prayed with me. After he finished praying with me, he still asked for my driver's license, my registration. I ain't had no problem with any of that. The other police officer was at the back because I had a Suburban with dark windows in the back, and he had his flashlight, make sure that, for his safety, that nobody was hiding in the back and all that. And I understood that. It was late in the middle of the night. I was speeding. I get that. So I gave him the information. He went to his car. Still to this day, I don't have any tickets or accidents on my record. At fault tickets or accidents on my record. He came back to the car with his pad and pen. He said, "Could you sign here?" I recognized I was probably speeding. I took his word for it, and I went to sign. I signed. He gave me the ticket. He said, "This is a warning." He said, "You don't have to worry about going to court. I hope that your son ends up being fine." He said, "Just slow down a bit." He said, "Because I would hate for you to get in an accident and then you won't be able to make it back to the hospital to be with your son." That's been years ago. That's been 14 years ago or so. I remember it like yesterday. I wish I would have known that officer, remembered that officer's name, because every time I'm on 285 and I pass that area, I look down at my speedometer and I make sure that I'm going the speed limit. See, that police officer had a positive effect on me. And it made me want to make him proud, even though he'll probably probably won't even see this video. I want to have that positive effect on people in my community. Say, hey, even if you litter, I'll pick it up. One day, last week, I was at the park with my kids. And when I'm at the park with the kids, especially not Aiden, if I'm by myself with Aiden, I'm close attention. So some of the stuff I can't do when I'm with him. But if it's some of the older kids or they playing with them, I might take the picker and pick up the pick up trash in the parking lot. You know, people drop their cups or take it out their car and all this stuff. And I walk around the parking lot and was picking up trash with my picker. And I saw two cars parked on side each other. They were communicating, and I saw them throw something on the trash. I just throw some trash on the ground. I'm nobody's dad. Well, I'm not. I wasn't their dad. I don't work for the county. You know what I mean? I'm not a police officer, so who am I to tell them don't litter or this and that and the other, because I know my lane. So what I did was I walked over there. I walked in between the cars with my picker, and I scooped that trash. I put it in my bag, and I kept going. After that, I said the kids' names, and it said, look, we're gonna be at the park for a few more minutes, so they can know that I don't work at the county. I'm not affiliated with the park, but I care. I wanted give that person that same opportunity to realize, hey, I've done something wrong. Somebody not trying to be aggressive toward me, and they just want their park clean. Just like that officer wanted me to get back to my kid, I want the parks clean for their children just like mine. It's that simple. If I can have an impact on that person's life where they don't litter in the park, and that's 100%. I don't mind picking up behind somebody if it's gonna have that type of effect. It's worth it. I don't want to pick up your household trash like constantly, or your litter constantly. I want it to catch on. But sometimes you have to think outside of the box, just like that officer did with me, because he had an effect on me, a positive effect on me. And I want to have a positive effect on people in my community, and say, hey, don't litter. This is a beautiful community. I don't want to leave my community and where my kids have grown up and say, you know what, I'm going to just move on the north side where they don't have any litter. Well, they don't have as much litter, because there's litter everywhere coming through the pandemic. But not as much. We have a water park being built on our side. They have a beautiful park not far from me that had a jazz fest. Stuff that I normally go 30-40 minutes, drive 30-40 minutes to go to. I got it like right in my neighborhood. I can actually get on my scooter in the battery last to the park and back. There's a $90 million school that's being built in my community that my daughter's going to go to next year. We have to protect that. We have to make sure it's beautiful. AstroTurf, separate baseball field, tennis courts, separate track field, state-of-the-art technology. I want to protect that. Because the school moved from one city, whether it's incorporated or but one city, and that's the name of that city, and moved to my side of town, my area, our area, and it's in a different city. So I wanted to change the name. But then I realized I had to change the culture of things. We had to be ready to get over there. So I'm doing stuff in the community. I clean up in that area at least once or twice a week, because I want to stay clean before the students come. I've actually, myself and other community members have tried to make it safer, because we're going to have young kids, young drivers in the community. of making my life. I want it to be my life's work. Sometimes we don't realize why things happen to us, but things happen to us for a reason, to give us purpose. Stuff happened to Dr. King to give him purpose. You know, he was discriminated against and this and that and the other. And he saw things happen and it wasn't right, and he wanted to make it better for his 4 little children. Hell, I'm no Dr. King, but hey, I could do some stuff in my community to make it better for my children, my neighbors' children. It takes a village to raise a child. You know, all the teachers, you know, that deal with 30 children in the class. Hats off to teachers. Yeah, that's a lot. You know, you're dealing with kids from all different experiences and backgrounds, and trying to mold them all and be on the same sheet of music. And I know teachers and administrators have impacted my life just as much as my parents. So if you don't understand some of the things I'm doing, is just, I know that change can be brought about. And all it takes is a couple people with an idea of how to make the change. Change is. And sometimes you have to be the changes that the change that you want to be. So before I started this, I started looking at me. And I knew everything wasn't 100% right, even if it's taking a blind eye. And you can have by making those changes, you can have a positive effect on people. I'm not just gonna call the county about the trash and just make those costs go up when they could be using those sanitation costs to actually build bigger and better parks. And the things that they have on the other area, they can have it in ours. We might have to work a little bit more, but hey, it is what it is. And then it enables community members to come together and have a conversation. I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and he pulled to the side. He said, "Man, I'm so happy you're doing this. I do the same thing." He said, you know, I felt I was by myself. Actually posted some stuff on our Nextdoor app, and overwhelming support. You never know how one person can affect someone else. Just like COVID. COVID actually started with a few people in Wuhan. And it spread all over the world. You know, it's got the story, if you which one would you rather, $1 million, or would you rather a penny that doubles every day exponentially? That penny is going to be worth more than $1 million. I believe this effort is going to be worth more than $1 million. And it doesn't matter if you live in my community. You can have the same effect in your community, because it's all the same. We all deal with community issues. But somebody has to stand up. There were people that came before me. There was people in my community that guided me in a direction that I'm going in right now. Just a tidbits of this one and that one. So it's not all me. It takes a village to raise a child, just like it takes a village to mold an adult or a leader. And the people that came before me, that molded me through my 46 years of life, got me to where I am at this point. It's not all me. I got a laundry list of people that have made me realize certain things, like that officer, that could have given me a ticket, had to send me to court. And now I could have been thinking about that while I went back to be with my son. There's, my community members that affected me and told me, hey, Eddie, yeah, you're doing something good, but you're doing it the wrong way. You need to put on some gloves and pickers. They were right. Don't be so defensive that you can't see what's good for you and how you're gonna benefit. I ask for advice all the time. And that's me to pick which advice works for me. But if it's all about the right, why am I fighting it? Why should I fight it? I should welcome it. Because the person it might affect the most is you and me. All right. Just wanted to share with you. I'm in the car today. I just wanted to share with you my journey and how we can really effectuate real change. And littering is just one of the things that I'm trying to change in my life. And saying if I got a problem with litter, I should have no problem with getting up the litter. But there's people in the community that have pushed me in a direction that I need to go in. And we will get that together. Because that person that says, hey, way to go, yeah, we appreciate that. That's just as important as me picking up the litter. It's just as important. Me is no different. Ideas is no different. Let's all work together. And we can make the changes. We is my favorite word. Because that's the only way it could be community, if it's we. If it's just me, I'd just be on an island alone. I'd be like Castaway, turned into a crazy man. No, I need we. we. All right. Sometimes I have long goodbyes, but y'all have a good one. Okay, we'll make the change you want it to be. Peace.